Hello and welcome to another episode of the Obstacle Race Magazine podcast. I'm here with Kevin, as usual. Mr. Newey, what episode are we on?
It's getting too easy now because you put the number in the invite for the podcast. It's 27.
It is 27, it is.
If you're going to try and fool me, you need to leave that off.
True, but it's ticking away nicely, isn't it? We're putting them away, keeping on track.
Keeping everybody entertained.
Exactly. Keeping them entertained during lockdown, even though things are obviously starting to relax slightly now.
Can we get excited yet? Is it too soon?
Nearly. A little bit too, not quite time to get excited, but we can get excited about being able to go out more than once a day to exercise and blah-de-blah, all those bits and pieces.
Yeah, blah-de-blah.
Yeah, what bits of exercise have you been doing then, Kev?
Over the last week?
Yeah.
I did a 10k run on Friday in a weighted vest.
Went over to the Peak District. Isn't it? I can see your nose is growing nicely. There,
slagging me off.
What have you actually really been doing?
I went for a run last Tuesday, and then my knees hurt for the rest of the week. So then the rain came down. So I've been waiting for the sun to come out so I can start exercising again. Weather's
been pants, hasn't it?
It has.
I've not done anything as exciting as that, I'm afraid. I've been trying to...
You got a bike, you got no excuse.
I know, but the one that I've been more interested in is not rideable at the moment. It's the one that I'm taking apart and stripping down and trying to spray. Because I'm enjoying it. It's good.
Geek.
I know. Well, you won't say that once it comes out, though, at the other end of the production line, and it's beautifully embroiled in ORM colours and stuff.
Yeah, but what's a bike got to do with OCR?
People like it, don't they? Listen, they enjoyed my skateboard story last week, so we're going to talk less about IKEA.
I know, because I was struggling last week. I mentioned before I was struggling to sleep last week, so I just kept listening to your skateboard story, and that sent me something straight off.
You're an idiot. Well, I'll have you know, I've had messages from people telling me they enjoyed my story.
I don't believe it.
And only one of them were from my mum, so... But yeah, so news this week. Obviously, there's no real massive race news, but with Wolf Run should have taken place this weekend, Summer Wolf Run. And obviously that one that's been knocked on the head and pushed forward a little bit. But that's obviously they get a big old crowd, don't they, at Wolf Run? They get a good few thousand people, so that's a...
I mean, they did put out a teaser, didn't they? On Saturday they said that they're gutted that the event isn't taking place this weekend, but they want to let everyone know that they're currently working on a new idea that will provide exclusive access to private trails, a great way to keep active and enjoy the beautiful outdoors in total safety. Watch this space. More info coming soon.
You couldn't tell that you were reading that off in any way, shape or form.
Well, I was reading it. Reading it straight from their Facebook page. I don't remember all that, am I?
You may, well, you never know. But yeah.
What do you want to do it again?
Well, so I'm guessing some sort of outdoor training facility, trim trail, something like that. Somewhere where you can social distance and do a little bit of OCR training, I'm assuming.
Or a wolf trail run.
Yeah.
In unseen parts of their grounds.
Possibly. Because so HS2, or what's it called? HS2.
Yeah.
Is that
the cruise liner?
You're an idiot. What's it called? It is HS2, isn't it?
What, the cruise liner?
No, the bloody train line. What's it called?
HS2.
Oh, you're an idiot. Right, so HS2 that were meant to be going right through the middle of their land, weren't it? Is that still the case, or has that been sort of...
Yeah, it's supposed to be going all the way through it.
All right, because that seems to have been knocked on a little bit, because that's the whole reason that they were searching for new grounds and whatever, weren't it? So
I think it was originally meant to go through it in about 2017, 2018, but the delays and all the hurrah around it, it's still getting pushed ahead, isn't it?
Yeah.
Don't know if it is actually needed. Connecting London to Leeds and wherever, like, faster than...
I like James May's idea, though, because he says that if they knocked it on the head now, we could buy absolutely everyone a bike.
What, with the money?
Yeah. Everyone in country a bike. I quite like that. Send me out, get me a bike.
Which is bonkers, isn't it?
Well, you don't want one, do you? So I could have yours.
I don't do cycling.
I'm sure I could talk the boys into not taking their money, and I could get like
a super geek bike.
Yeah, quite a decent bike out of that. But yeah, so we'll have to wait and see what that is from those two. But yeah, I've not really been, because obviously, like you say, weather's been rubbish, so I've not been doing anything that exciting.
I saw Mud Monsters have announced they've had to cancel their event, which should have been this last weekend as well. And they've put it on the same weekend next year, so I think it's like 6th of June 2021. Unfortunately, classes with blooming rocket race.
It does, yeah, I noticed that it clashes, which is a bit of a shame, really. It sort of divides people, doesn't it, a little bit? Because there's quite a few people who like both those events, and it's never nice to have a clash like that. But hey-ho, there's only so many race weekends in the year, and
there's only 52.
Well,
there's only 2 days on a weekend, so you only got 104 days not to try and clash with people.
And we specifically go for August, though, don't we? Because usually we're Mud 7, because it's the one where one likes putting...
People usually shy away from August because they know that people are going to be on holidays. So they're not going to get probably as bigger numbers as they'd like, whereas to us, we don't want to clash with them because we're here to promote the whole industry, to promote all those races, so we don't want to step on anybody's toes, and we're here just to give everybody an OCR party. Yeah,
and it just means we've got to put in a little bit more footwork in terms of getting people there and sort of making them...
hence the reason we work with lots of charities.
That's it. See it as a good alternative compared to sitting on a sunny beach, which is not always that easy. White Beach or Coventry mud. You just...
Well, there used to be a beach at Hart Park.
Oh, true. That's
Google
true.
it for Longley Beach and have a look at the pictures on there, which won't believe the transformation.
And it's a shame it's not there, but it does mean that the lake that we send people through is a lovely lake, actually, isn't it? Even though you can't see it at bottom because it's sandy. It is a nice and soft and what have you. We just need someone to come along and utilise it a little bit more, don't we?
Yeah, I mean, it's the sort of place where people should be going in the summer of picnics and things, have a nice walk around the woods, pedal around in the swans, Ghost Squad styly.
Yeah, maybe just a little bit less makeup than the Ghost Squad. But yeah.
I don't know, I've seen some of the women in OCR wear a bit more than the Ghost Squad.
Oh.
Controversy.
I've seen you wear more than that on a weekend as well, Kevin, or should we not tell
Lisa Caswell. Pardon?
Oh. She'll kill you for saying that, Kevin. And I'll make sure she knows about it as well. Right, listener mail this week.
You've got mail.
What, have you had one?
We have. We've had... They've actually come along... It's like buses, isn't it? They've all come along at once. So out of the bunch, we have a listener mail, an audio listener mail, which is quite cool. And also a email-based listener mail. So what your call, Kev, which should we go for first? Audio or written email?
It's got to be audio.
Audio first, yeah?
Got to be audio.
Right, so I'll play the clip now.
Good afternoon, Carl and Kevin. Well, you asked everyone to come up with some sort of voicemail question, and being a Mud King and a general OCR addict, I thought I would come up with a question. It's more of a question for the community and yourselves. Now, having done OCR since 2012, I've got lots of defining moments that stand in my mind, being happy, sad, an emotional roller coaster. And I'd like to know what your standout moments of OCR are. Would they be Pippingford Park in 2012 when we all got nearly hypothermia out on the moors? Could it be Pain and Suffering where we're all head to toe in mud? Let me know your thoughts. Obviously, Carl come up with something, Kevin come up with something, and Carl, your story of tobogganing down a hill at 90 mile an hour with your brothers was awesome. I truly wish I could have been there. It's the joys of being born and bred in Norfolk, where everything is flat. Keep up the great work, and I hope to see you all soon at Mud 7.
Well done, Adrian.
I know, magical. By the magic of editing, he has just spoken to us and brought along his question. So, Adrian, he's actually been quite a long-time member of the community, of the ORM community, isn't he? So he's a top chap.
I ran Ram Run with him a few years ago.
Yeah.
He won a couple of tickets as a prize, so he invited me along to run with him. Yeah, it was great fun. It was my one and only run around the Ram Run course as well at Stoneleigh Park. It was great.
Yeah, it's a shame actually. Before we get we don't want to go too far off topic, but yeah, it's a shame Ram Run's gone.
We talked a lot about chocolate because I like chocolate, and he was working at a Kinnerton factory at the time.
So you're hoping to bag a few freebies chocolate bars, I bet, weren't you? Really? That's
no,
what you
it
were
was
after.
Kinnerton chocolate, which
is what?
Cadbury's.
But yeah, so firstly, obviously, we echo his hopes in terms of us all getting to Mud 7 pretty soon. We're hoping that the new date, the 26th of September, is the one that absolutely nails it, and we're out of too many restrictions and what have you and guidelines, and it's going to make it possible for us. Also, obviously, another one. I'm glad you liked my story about the skateboarding, Adrian. Obviously,
just one to say that.
Just one of the many people who enjoyed the story. Obviously,
just him a free magazine rag or something, have you?
So, standout moments. Kev, do you want to go first, or do you want me to?
You go first.
Go on then. Right. So for me, a personal standout moment for me has got to be Airfield Anarchy's weekend. And we've spoke about it so many times before, but for me, it is one that I always look back to in terms of some of the most fun. And now there's been, over the last 6-7 years, there's been so many little snippets of good fun, like when I've been able to run round courses with my good friend Faye and other bits and pieces. And obviously you see people achieving stuff like Sean Gash Sean Gash when he went around.
In the moment here, aren't I?
I'm just going to mute you this bit anyway for you, so no one will actually hear you saying that. But yeah, Sean Gash obviously getting pulled around the Mud 7 course, being able to see those sort of things. But for me, it's Airfield Anarchy. It'll always stick out for me, and it always landed on my birthday weekend, which is next weekend, just in case, just so you don't miss out on it. The 13th, you need to be looking out for that.
Yeah,
that
lucky for some.
So, just so you don't.
Because I spoke to Sean, and he said, funny enough, you said one of your favourite parts was seeing him getting pulled around like the Mud 7 course. When I spoke to him, he said one of his favourite moments was seeing you getting pulled around the Spartan course.
It's never happened. I don't go off quick like you, Kevin, then have to stand on corner. But yeah, so that were always a good weekend for me. So anyone who's not actually heard of Airfield Anarchy, it were one that were around for a few years. Based over.
Mid-7?
Yeah, we're based over towards the Newark area of the. I'm guessing it's Midlands, really, isn't it? Midlands.
Nottingham, you sort of way.
No.
It is near Nottingham.
It's miles away from Nottingham.
How many miles?
Quite a few.
How many?
A fair few.
What's a fair few?
A lot. If you put Nottingham in, Nottinghamshire, Nottingham. If you put in Nottingham, and
so
then
how many miles would you say then?
Then go to
what's a lot?
Lincoln.
What's a lot?
As the crow flies, or
no, this is actual journey.
I'd say 60.
20.
Is it heck?
20.9. Yeah.
I don't believe you.
See?
But anyway.
Know your geography.
But anyway, so I enjoyed that weekend because it were 3 races over one weekend. So you got to do the 5K, 10K, and 10 miles. And obviously, for those who like a bit of swag, you got 3 different medals as well. And they actually made the medals so they all sort of fit into each other and made a little bit of a jigsaw and what have you. Because of where it was based, it were actually ran on what would have been an RAF base at some stage, or a training ground or whatever. So it were always flight themed as well. So you had like little Spitfires and what have you as the medals. But what made it even better is that you could camp out there, which there's nothing unusual about that. But they also had live music and everything. So it was like a big. It felt like a festival weekend. So an OCR festival weekend.
And I just top loader there, didn't they? 1 year.
Yeah, I think it was. Yeah. I was tired out though. To be honest, I think I watched Dancing in Moonlight and
that's it, isn't it?
went to bed.
That's already song.
Went to go to sleep. No, the great thing about camping is it means you've not got to go home, and as long as there's showers there, you get a shower, you go to bed, blah blah blah, and you get your head down into tent. But the worst bit about it is if you get cramp in the night, you've got nowhere to go. You can't stand up in a tent unless you've got one of those massive fancy all bells and whistles tents, which I ain't got. So I end up like doubled over in a tent doing all weird yoga poses to try and get rid of cramp in a tiny, skinny sleeping bag that you already ain't got room to mess around in anyway.
There is a video online of you after doing the taster day as well, isn't there?
Yeah,
a young Mr. Wibberley. We'll have to post that on the community page.
There is somewhere, probably. Yeah, I don't know where that would be.
I'll find it.
Thanks, that's really great. Yeah, but yeah, that one's my personal standout memory. There's been loads of other bits and pieces. Obviously, watching John Alban numerous occasions, winning world championships and flying flag for Great Britain, UK, blah de blah. I think there's a lot who would agree with Adrian in terms of the UK beast at Pippinford. The year it was really ridiculously brutal, and then when people had actually survived the course and not been pulled off like so many had by the medics, they went to go and get the kit, and the bag drop were flooded, weren't it? So the bags had all got wet through, so they didn't even have any dry clothes to put on. Then when they got back to the cars were stuck. So it were beautifully...
Yeah.
And actually, you managed to get the summit stuck as well, didn't you, Kev? You brand new van, and you managed to bury it all the way up to the...
No, we got out.
You still buried it, though, didn't you?
No, just parked it.
Oh, parked it in, like, 3 foot of mud. But yeah, I'm sure loads of people echo the pain and suffering weekends and also his feelings towards the Spartan Beast being a little bit brutal. So what about you then, Kevin? What's your standout moment?
When you've done so many OCRs, there are the weekends that sort of go by and it's just, you've picked up your medal, but there's nothing really that you'll remember that weekend for. So the ones that really stand out, I'd say from actually running an OCR, I think it was the last year that Rock Solid was around, and we had an obstacle race magazine, Heat, at Milton Keynes, and I thought I'd tag along with whoever's at sort of the back of the group, and it was I think 68-year-old Graham Lee, sort of pottering around at the back. I mean, what a star! So I stuck with Graham the whole way around the course, and considering he's got a really bad shoulder as well, I think he tore some muscles in it once. So one of his shoulders is really weak, but he gives absolutely every single obstacle a try. He's an absolute trooper, and he comes every year to Mud 7, does all the nuclear races. He's absolutely smashing. So actually running an event, that's probably one of my standout favourite moments. Now we sort of organise our own events as well. Just getting to the end of every Mud 7 day, and you can sort of just take a big sigh of relief when those last people come across the finish line. There's no injuries. You've got enough medals and T-shirts for everybody, and it's like, I just want to go home now and come back tomorrow and pick up all the litter and crap that's been left in the car park.
Oh yeah,
and then go back to work on the Monday. So I think for a Mud 7 moment, the Sean Gash, that was the first year, seeing them carry him across the finish line. I made my way over and made sure I put my medal around his neck for that one to grab the glory. I think I did it a couple of years ago as well. Jane Mailer, when she was climbing over the elements, like was it Mount Smeverest at the finish line?
Yeah,
and it's very, very high. You just don't realise like how high that is. And she had a real sort of panic attack, but she was sort of coaxed down and managed to get up and down there over the other side. She was bubbling with tears, and again that was another one where I managed to get there and stick the medal around her neck. So that was pretty good.
Yeah,
and then obviously my number one memory probably from OCR is 1st of September, meeting Mr. Wibberley at the finish line, Spartan Sprint, Saffron Walden. But he was bright-eyed and bushy-tailed. Our first meeting, and because we were only talking about putting the magazine together then, so that was sort of my first meeting up with you to see if we'd get on and what we thought. And you just started talking about OCR, and I think an hour later you hadn't shut up, and you were sort of frothing at the mouth, just so enthusiastic. You knew everybody, all the events, all the obstacles, and thought there's nobody better to work on this magazine with than you.
Yeah. It's been good. It's been a nice adventure, hasn't it? Ups and downs. It's been the magazine itself has been an obstacle course, hasn't it? It's not always been plain sailing. It's been tough. It's took wind out of our sails a few times, hasn't it?
Yeah.
But we've
keep on smiling.
I know, we've got this far, haven't we? So
PMA, karma, it always comes back.
That's it. Karma looks after us. So we always do good by people, right by people, shall I say? So
I hope that answers you, Adrian. And again, we'd love to hear from everybody else what your standout moments are in OCR. I mean, there's probably loads more, and apologies if I've left anybody's names off, but it's just those ones are just quite special and standouty for me.
Yeah. Well, there's bound to be, isn't there? Over 6 or 7 years, there'll be tons of them, and you'll pray as you're laid in bed tonight doing your usual overthinking, you'll probably think of quite a few.
Well, I think there was another rock solid where me and Chris Dolan had a race, and he backed out with like an ankle, where he was pretending his ankle had gone or something after about halfway through. I think there's pictures of us both on there on the start line with Connor Hancock, and again it was when all the teams were racing each other, and there was loads of hurdles you had to jump over first to straw bales, so you can see us all like charging down there. And I think Dolan's got a big GoPro sort of stuck to his head.
Well, that's Silverstone.
It looks like a miner. It might have been Silverstone, that one. Yeah, it would have been Silverstone, yeah, because I only did the Devon one once, and I think I did Silverstone twice.
I did like Silverstone. That were a nice place to run, weren't it?
I preferred the Devon location. Was it Exmouth? Was it Exmouth?
Something like that. It was just the only thing that put me off about that is because it was such a long way for us to go. Yeah. It was just a long day, that one. But yeah, I enjoyed it. But yeah, I did enjoy Silverstone, because they had a thing called a green mile there as well. Can you remember that?
Yeah, it was just a straight mile, and I think there was a timing chip at the start and end of it.
That's
and
it.
Whoever got the fastest mile got a prize.
Yeah, so it was the first time anyone had brought in any sort of segments within a race. And I think whatever chip company that they were working with had decided that it'd be something they wanted to test out. And it was quite cool, actually. The people liked that, especially because it was quite a competitive environment then as well. There were a decent depth of field in terms of people who were trying to race each other, because there were a lot of teams then, weren't there? A lot of organised teams.
Yeah, and some races were putting on decent prize money as well to try and coax people there.
Yeah, the only trouble with that is they put prize money there. The elites did a little bit of social media advertising for them and whatever, but they always wanted the tickets for free, didn't they? So
yeah, I mean, John was there on the first Rock Solid I went, because I was on the start line with them all, and I thought I'll see how fast, so she can keep up with them, and boom, it's just gone. That was it. Yeah. As soon as it went, I thought I'll see if I can get my picture of me at the front, head of John Albon, but never quite got it.
John does make it look too easy, though, doesn't he? Even if you look back at some of the videos of when John raced at Rat Race 30 weekend, and they're like videoing him, they're in a quad inside of him or on one of the like gator sort of things, and they're going at a fair old pace, and he's running inside of them, talking to them as if it's nothing, but he's quite easily keeping up this pace and able to talk at the same time. It's crackers. If you look back, if you search it on YouTube, like Rat Race 30 weekend front runners, something like that, that'll bring it up, and you'll be able to see. It would have been a Mudstickle video, wouldn't it, that would have been showing that, because they like to follow the front runners round. But yeah, right. So, Adrian, hopefully that answers your question, and hopefully we'll get a few more people. If I post this, if you think on when I post this on social media, it'd be quite cool if anyone who thinks of something that's a standout moment could maybe put it in the comments underneath the post that's linked this podcast.
As Adrian said, he's in the Mud Kings group as well, so maybe he can be the spokesperson for the Mud Kings, and every week he comes on and gives us another voicemail from one of the members.
Pulls another rabbit out of the hat
So
each week.
he's got to go on. You've got to go there now, Adrian. Ask all the Mud Kings for some questions, and then you've got to relay them on your almighty scroll.
Yeah. So, right, next one. We've got, like I say, we've got two. So we're on to an email one this time.
You've got mail.
And it's from Mr. MySports. So for those of you who don't know, there is a company that work around obstacle racing to try and provide different bits and pieces. They also do medals and other bits and pieces for the commercial side, but also for competitors and for racers. They do like the shoes, clothing, other bits and pieces of equipment that you might need.
They're always at Mid 7, and they're always offering
they
they do the lockers for us as well. So the secure lockers, that's the My Sports and More crew.
Yeah. So, hi guys, Mr. MySports here. So, with England Athletics authorising Race Direct to allow up to 6 people to run together, and some RDs already planning races in waves of 5, etc., do you feel this is the start of races coming back, and that by the end of summer, mass participation will be allowed? And if so, how should or could it be managed? What directions are RDs getting that are not affiliated to England Athletics? Stay safe, Mr. MySports. So a couple of questions there then. In terms of planning races, waves of 5 and what have you, that's obviously must be guidance from England Athletics, but we don't really have much communication from them because we're not really we're not seen as an official sport yet. So race directors from our angle, from OCR's angle, and as a sort of industry, I don't think we fall into the bracket of anyone that they'd be communicating with, unfortunately. Our main communication so far has come mainly from like UK OSF, which is the UK Obstacle Sports Federation. Their team have been sharing like risk assessments that people have been putting together, but that's mainly for training facilities, because obviously training facilities have got more chance of being able to social distance within their environments than what we have with a mass participation event at the moment anyway. So they've been sharing those risk assessments for those, and obviously we've seen, like we spoke about on the last episode of the podcast, that Nuclear Wild Forest, they've obviously began their training sessions again now, and they've come up with a way of organising it so they can do training sessions of smaller groups and what have you. Also, in terms of the federation, they've been in communication with Sport England about what support there is available for us, and like in terms of coronavirus actions and what have you. And we're opened up to ask them any questions or anything, but I just don't think there's anything there at the moment for us. There's been race director calls, like Zoom calls and whatever, but it actually turns out that while we're recording this right now, each one of the calls that they've put together is usually at a time when we're recording podcast, so we don't even get to join them for that, unfortunately. But I know one or two of the UK race directors have been joining those calls, so I don't know what information's been shared on there, but it's a little bit, we're still in the suck it and see zone at the moment, aren't we, in terms of...
Yeah, I mean, they're talking about pubs opening in 2 weeks, aren't they? Pubs and restaurants that are serving people outside. Obviously, events are all outside. There's definitely ways and measures of keeping people apart. You'd say that the start line is probably one of the most congested places, and then the obstacles. You just have marshals. People are sensible, aren't they? They're not going to run into a crowd of people and all snuggling up with them. You can have like 5 or 6 people starting every 20, 30 seconds, a bit like a time trial then, isn't it? Next 5 come to the front. Still within your wave time parameters. And if there's certain people you want to run with, you can still run with those sort of 5 people. Bigger groups, you might just have a bit of 20, 30 seconds in between each other, but people understand this year. It's a different year.
Yeah.
Hopefully
Weird
back to normal next year.
situation.
Yeah, I mean, New Zealand have come out of lockdown today, haven't they? They're fully rid of the virus. And numbers are coming down all the time. Hopefully there's no second spike. There's been no sign of it in other European countries. So
Yeah.
fingers crossed, herd immunity.
Yeah. It's just, well, obviously the first set of guidelines and whatever got put in place to take the pressure off the NHS, didn't they? That's what the whole idea behind it was. And now we're sort of past that stage. And as long as we're not going to go into a situation where we get a big spike, which is what they want to ensure won't happen, then things should slowly but surely get back to what is the new normal. There's no point saying normal, is there? Because I think for a while it's going to be the new normal, isn't it?
Yeah.
I don't think, and it's going to go back to the full on.
Until they got the antibody.
Yeah,
It's antidote, isn't it? Antidote, sorry.
Yeah, antidote, yeah, like that little purple liquid. But yeah, antibody test's going to be a game changer, I think, isn't it? 'Cause so many people already think that they've had it. And if they have and the thoughts are right, then hopefully if the antibodies last for long enough for it to be like a long-term sort of peace of mind for people, because that's the bit that they've got to, I don't know, have they said about how long the antibodies last for?
No, I mean, I've got people who I work with in the office. They had like coughs over Christmas, which just didn't go away for like weeks and weeks and weeks. Had these bad coughs, and you think like, was that it? I work so closely with them, driving to and from work, always biting my nails, biting my fingers. So if they've had it, it's definitely I would have had it. But I've been working from home now since March. I'm like going stir crazy, pulling all my hair out. I just want to be good to get back in the office and have some sort of normality, but I can't do it until I've had this test.
Yeah,
because I'm a shielder.
Well, I'm assuming at some stage they must be able to give you an antibody test, though, if you are being
when
shielded.
they're available.
Yeah. Because at the moment, I'm assuming it's just for key workers and.
I don't know if anybody's had.
Oh, have they not? Is there not a foolproof one yet? No.
No, they're in. I think they're in production. They're still doing all the tests, but they said that they're running out of people. They're going to send, I think, test people in Brazil now because Brazil is like numbers are booming. There's just not enough people over here now with coronavirus for them to reliably test and get like a good enough result.
Yeah, because I think that'll be game changer, won't it?
Yeah,
when we can do mass antibody tests.
I'm not doing a Joe DeSania where he said, "Give me the virus. I want to drink it. I want to have it." Spark-styly.
You're just ready to get back to work, aren't you?
Yeah.
To be fair,
I just want to go back and start eating some pies again.
No one was in any doubt of that, Kevin. We all knew what your
my breakfast pie, my breakfast sausage roll.
What your sole reason behind it was. And we'll not tell Caroline that obviously you're itching to get out of the house.
Yeah.
Because it's obviously you'd miss them all terribly, wouldn't you?
It would be strange at first.
I think it's going to be strange for anybody. Like my youngest is going back to school on Monday, and it's after being it. How long have we been at home for now? Like 3 months.
Yeah, pretty nearly.
And it's going to be really strange for him to go back to school. But I asked him to sort of tentatively try and feel out what his thoughts were behind it, and he's quite happy to go back to school. He wants to see his friends, and he won't miss us at all, apparently. And that's 5-year-old speaks no lies, do they? So he's ready and raring. We'll have to see how it is because it's going to be a weird day. We've got to drop them off. You got to literally take them out of the car, send them in the right direction, and drive away.
Well, my two are teenagers now, so they're very different. Kieran was supposed to be doing his GCSEs this year, so he's like one of the class of 2020 who's not going to get to sit him, not going to get that day when he picks up his GCSE results. No prom. So he's actually finished now. He starts college in September, so he's having like 6 months off playing the Xbox. And Amy, she's in year 9, so hers isn't a year that's going back to school yet. So she probably won't be going back to September. And she's actually leaving school, and she's been given a place at BOA in Birmingham. It's like an acting academy thing. That's her dream. So she applied for that and went through the auditions and got picked. Is this my skateboard story?
No, I think people will find it interesting. It gives them an insight into us, doesn't it, a little bit?
And
But
then
no,
my wife,
it's,
she works for one of the charities that we support, so Zoe's Place, who we're always at Mud 7 with the team. My wife works there. She's been furloughed, and they're not going back to at least August, so she's having an extended holiday, but she's going stir crazy as well.
fed up of picking your socks up off at floor and stuff, no doubt.
Yeah.
Walking around, leaving a trail of destruction.
There's more dishes to do.
Yeah, fed up of having it your own. I bet it was wonderful at first, and then all of a sudden now she's realising, oh no,
Novelty's worn off.
hurry up and get back to work. I'm fed up, keep making a mess. But yeah, I don't. What directions are RDs getting that are not affiliated to England Athletics?
I mean,
So
we're
to answer
all
that-
independent business owners at the end of the day.
Yeah.
We're not part of an official sport, so we're not really getting any guidance. We have to go searching for any information, really, and follow the government guidelines when they start opening up and saying you can have open air events now, but these are the limitations. That's what we'll be guided by.
Yeah,
There's nobody who can really tell us what to do apart from the government. But we're preparing for all eventualities. If we can have full waves, what does that mean? Do we not? People don't have a warm up in the starting pen. They have to do it before they get in there. Do we have 5 people going off at a time? We're keeping our options completely open.
yeah,
26th of September, we're 3 2/3 months away. And if you look at how the numbers keep coming down, more lockdown eased, people can go on holiday soon. So I'm sure it's not going to be long before they say outside events, park runs, go.
yeah. I think park runs, like you say, that's going to be the next one that's going to be able to open up, and it's just going to be that start line, isn't it? That's going to have to be different. You can't have a big old corral of people all bunched up together
Just
anymore.
a staggered start.
So the start corral might be absolutely enormous to be able to fit 80 people in with a nice gap surrounding.
Yeah, I wonder
each
if they
one
could
of
do
them,
different
but-
start times. Because obviously I think is it like 9 o'clock that you go off. Can you have like a 9 o'clock wave, a 10 past, a 20 past, I don't know.
It's
Depends
gonna
how
be
the
weird, 'cause-
how the timing system works.
Yeah, it's going to be strange because the whole idea of park run is that they keep it as simple as possible, really, don't they?
It's almost got too big for itself to cope with, hasn't it? To be
Yeah.
fair.
They have had to rein it in on, because it's not meant to be a race, and they've had to drill that in, haven't they, over the last year or so, where people have been sharing times. So there's a park run world record in terms of who ran it the fastest.
Well, they shouldn't give times then if
But
they don't want
then-
it to be a race.
Well, it's tough though, isn't it? It is. But people like yourself, you're quite competitive, and you like to have targets, don't you? So you're someone who would go back specifically to keep trying to beat your time. That's the reason it's there, to give you a target to aim for.
Better yourself.
Yeah,
Try and get
rather
under that
than
20 minutes.
hey.
Try and get into the 20-minute mark.
Yes, yeah. Well, that doesn't interest me in the slightest.
So you were watching what you say though, were you?
Well, it just doesn't appeal to me.
So I was going to start mentioning Heather and then it would go wrong.
I can't. Heather, why have you always got to pull down the tone of the podcast, Kevin? It's always you. But yeah, I think it's a strange one because obviously they want people to have targets to be able to aim for, but then that also opens it up for people who are wanting to race each other and get best time on a certain course and this, that, and the other. But now we'll have to wait and see, won't we? See what that start line's going to look like.
Yeah.
Hopefully by then, as long as there's no extra spikes, we can crack on and get a race put together. It's just how it's going to look and how many people they're going to have racing around them. Because I don't know. I think we need to get through that stage where most people have had it for then herd immunity to have sort of taken place, I guess. But what does that mean for people who are in isolation and stuff at the moment, and in like yourself that's shielded? What does that mean for them? What you're gonna have to get it eventually if you've not had it already, aren't you? To be able to be non-susceptible to it, because even what do you call it?
You just get like your flu jab every year, so have your COVID jab every year.
Yeah, but that's a little bit of COVID, isn't it? So if you
I thought
are...
that's fake news. I thought it's not. You don't get like a shot of it.
That's how an immunisation works, though, isn't it? A little bit of it, so your body learns to fight against it.
No.
Is that not how an immunisation works? I'm pretty sure somewhat
it's
a nurse or what is it? An antidote? Is it an antidote? Ken?
Yeah.
Is that what it is?
Stop you getting it.
You're an idiot. I'm pretty sure it. Although I'll have to look at
Dr.
one of us
Wibberley.
will look at. Like last week, proved you wrong, didn't I?
What on?
I can't remember what it were. I've not got that good a memory. But you definitely said something last week, and then I didn't even have to change it 'cause she had said it. But I don't have a clue what it was. I'm sure people who've been listening will be able to remember.
It says that flu jabs are vaccines that protect against infection.
But then you've still not.
Then that's why you have to have it every year.
Yeah,
You're not
because
going-
that's
you're
for
not going
different
them.
strains, isn't it? Isn't it? Because there's different strains every year, so you have to be sort of vaccinated against each strain. And I thought the idea of a vaccine or immunisation or whatever would because it gave you a little bit of it, so that your antibodies could detect it.
Can we have somebody who's qualified to please answer us?
I might be completely wrong. Well, I have like nurses listening to this right now going, "Carl, shut up, he's right."
If we were talking about fossils, I'd know you were right, but
You're an idiot. Everyone likes fossils, all right. Kids love a dinosaur and fossils and whatever. It's just that I never grew out of it. But yeah, so hopefully, Mr. My Sports, that's answered your question in a roundabout way. Basically, there is no answer for us at minute because we're just out on our own a little bit. And we've just got to keep listening to those speeches each day from Boris and his crew and seeing what they come up with next. 4th of July, though, isn't it, for pubs? Well, I've got 4th of July in my head for some
I
reason.
thought they were saying the 22nd of June was what they were saying today.
Oh, maybe then.
To open outdoors.
Yeah.
Football starts next week, Premier League,
Oh, great.
17th. Snooker was on live. That's been on since the weekend.
Oh, yeah. Fabulous.
Horse racing's back.
Yes. Great.
Formula One will be starting soon as well.
Mm,
So it's all starting up.
yeah.
So go to
I've missed all them
mysportsandmore.com.
things.
Lots of great deals. They always do great deals on Garmin's, and they do Partex and stuff as well, don't they?
Yeah. Yeah,
so,
they do.
So thanks for the question. There's a little plug as well.
Yeah. And like Kev says, they do part exchanges on Garmin's and other bits and pieces of tech. So if you've never looked at it, you should do, because more often than not, you'll get more for your like sports watch or whatever than you would have done if you'd have sold it on eBay or whatever, because especially if you're trading up to a new watch, you'll get a big old chunk, because obviously they can then save you a little bit of money because they can slice off some of the profits that they would have had by counteracting it with your watch or tech and what have you. But yeah, so that were nice. That were good. That one sort of bit more of an insight from our
Yep.
end of things for listeners to get involved in. That's dragged out for quite a long time, that one though. 42 minutes we've been going for, Kev, already.
That is talking about your skateboard story.
It's nice. You and your stories. So has Fitness Tree been getting used much this week then, Kevin, or is it mainly washing line?
No, it's been the weather's been too inclement.
Yeah.
Yeah. So
It's never
Not
going
this
to get
week.
used, is it?
it's been getting used. I've been doing chin-ups. I was going out and doing trying to do one more every day, but I got to 5 and I plateaued. I just couldn't get past that 5. What's
Well,
funny?
It's 'cause it's funny. 'Cause it's like everyone wants one, don't they? Until they've got one, and then it never gets used. It's one of those
For the
nice
cost of it, it's
ornament
a bargain.
bargain. No, it is, to be fair.
With all the
And if
attachments and things in the training manual you get with it.
Yeah.
And
Especially
if you've only got a small garden, very little space, it doesn't take up much space at all.
yeah.
Fitness Tree, check them out.
And then when you get fed up of it, you can use it like Kevin uses it as the other
Bird
end
feeder.
of your washing line. Yeah, bird feeder, yeah. Somewhere tang squirrel feed. But yeah, so lovely stuff. I think that's answered those two. Listener mail. We've got a bit of news out of the way.
Keep them coming.
Anything else? Yeah, exactly. Let's have some juicy ones again for us to discuss next week.
I was expecting something from Paul Ellis. I did call him out on social media, and he was promising to send something in, but again, bottled it.
McDonald's is open now, though, isn't it?
Yeah.
So he'll be in that queue probably still, waiting for his daily fix. That'll be his rota for each day now. 3 hours in a queue for a McDonald's.
I
No
think what we'll
doubt.
have to do is we'll never mention the Cakeathon winner again until we've had that voicemail message in.
No, I don't want to push him too much because you know where he usually listens. So I just don't want to hear one of his voicemail messages from that same location. So it'll leave us all with nightmares. Right, Kevin, it's been emotional. Thank you very much for joining me.
Happy birthday for the 13th.
Thanks, Kev. Is that all? I'm not even going to get a card or anything, am I?
I can't go to the shops, I'm shielded.
Shielding.
I'll send you an email.
Thanks.
And you'll get a nice
Appreciate
text.
Yeah. Anyway, right. Lovely stuff. Cheers, Kev.
Cheers.
Thanks a lot.
Bye.
Bye.